Hey everybody, I'm Jesse and welcome to another edition of Genex Thinks. And today is Monday, February 9th. All right, and today I ran across this quote from Ayn Rand, and I'll be honest, I never really heard of Ayn Rand until last year. I'm sure I'd run across the name and I'd heard of her book Atlas Shrugged, but I'd never read it until a member and subscriber, Wiley Ann, I think it was Wiley Ann, last year. She talked me into reading it, so I bought Atlas Shrugged and read it, and really good book. Most of us, I think, read it in high school. Hanging with Christopher, Crash Talks. What's up? Good morning. But here's a quote from Ayn Rand. When you see that in order to produce, you need to obtain permission from men who produce nothing, when you see the money is flowing to those who deal, not in goods, but in favors, when you see that men get richer by graft and by pull than by work, your laws don't protect you against them, but protect them against you. When you see corruption being rewarded and honesty becoming self-sacrifice, you may know that your society is doomed. Which Ayn Rand, and if you've ever read Atlas Shrugged, it's a really smart book, and it says a lot about society and you know the powers that be controlling things and getting in the way of actual results and actual production, about capitalism and stuff like that. It talks about a lot of different stuff, and real honest subjects that are just taken for granted today. Probably were back then too, or she wouldn't have been writing about it. I think she wrote it in the 40s or something, maybe the 50s. Living and Active, Wayne Beatty, Armored Ghost. What's up? Oh, okay, yeah, that's a great quote, and it really strikes home today, right? I mean, if we think about it, what do all these famous people, the super rich, the ultra elite, all these people, what do they do? I mean, what do they do personally, as a person, as a human being? What do they do? They produce nothing. Uh, you know, um, they don't do any good for society. It it's completely backwards now, just as she predicted. We're in an age where the people who produce nothing give permission to the producers to actually do work and stuff, and then they get all of the rewards for it. The non-productive get all the rewards. They reap the fame, the fortune, and everything, while the people on the ground actually doing the work and getting shit done live hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. Jeff7, what's up, Jeff? Glad to see you here. Dolly did a good show. Vote Shannon. Good morning, Hurst. Hey, what's up? No, I didn't know she died homeless and broke. Wayne. Which wouldn't surprise me though. Um, putting out that kind of message. A lot of people who have put out messages like that and gained any traction and got notoriety, they end up suicidal or crazy, homeless on the streets. yeah. Is that a coincidence? Maybe the people who speak out against the government and the billionaires and stuff, maybe, maybe they just go crazy and end up, wandering the streets homeless. Maybe that's my fate. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting on myself on the same philosophical level as Ayn Rand. She was, but maybe everyone who speaks out against the system, ends up suicidal and or wandering the streets homeless and broke. Oliver Rust, what's up, Oliver? Yeah, just like the old days gathering at the mall, Christopher. Yeah. Michelle, good morning, Michelle. Glad to see you here. So, yeah, Ayn Rand, a lot of stuff she said is turning out to be prophetic, and by the by her by her words, your society is doomed, and I do honestly believe that. Um, the only real question is the timeline, right? It could the actual collapse could happen in 200 years, so this thing could stumble on for a couple hundred more years for all we know. That's the only question. Uh, Folding Ladder, good morning, Folding Ladder. Glad to see you here. Um, yeah, I'm not into the whole fear mongering thing. I don't that's the job of the establishment, the corporate media, and all that bullshit. The sky is falling. We need to raise your taxes, or a lot of people today. The sky is falling. Send me your money so that I can protect you. We need to. We need to. I need to fight the fight with your money. You know what I'm saying? That shit cracks me up. Yeah, I'm gonna fight the fight with your money. Uh, so that is that's a little let's see, questionable. The motives there are questionable. Once you become uh, multimillionaire and you're still asking people for money, we I think there's a disconnect there. You know what I mean? Uh, but hopefully, I'm honestly hopeful that people will come together at some point, the common person, and just realize that the power is ours, and we got to quit giving it away. Basically, I think it is actually that simple. Jason ended our fear. Yeah, Christopher, you're right about that. Duncan, where's Duncan? There he is. Duncan, what's up, Duncan? Yeah, yeah, Duncan. And that's I tell everybody, I have both liberal and conservative ideas, beliefs, because I'm a human being. You know, I've got a working mind, so I'm not I'm not on one complete side of the fence or the other. So I can't do that. When I see billions upon billions of dollars sent to foreign aid and to fight foreign wars and all this shit, and then I see homeless people wandering around on our streets hungry and confused, there's something wrong there. Okay, call me a liberal, a leftist, a Democrat, but we could just keep some of that money and build some shelters and stuff, with the tax money, with the money that's borrowed from the Federal Reserve. It's not actually our tax money, but yeah, we could do stuff like that. We could replace lead pipes to keep people healthy. We can do some things like that instead of funding all these foreign dignitaries and foreign wars and foreign invasion for the leering centers, all their corruption and fraud, the waste and the absolute waste and ill management of our funds is horrifying when you really think about it. So if they just stopped all that waste, all the waste, just the money they're pissing down the toilet, we could end homelessness, just end it, and still have 1.5 trillion left over to piss away. We could, everyone could have a home, just, but we don't want to. Committee of 300 Jesuit Knights of Malta. Yeah. Yeah, OG Tango. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm all about individualism. Yeah. The government um, should be protecting our rights and aiding those of us who actually deserve it. And everybody else should be an individual free to do as they will as long as they don't harm anyone else, I mean, we need and corporations should be restricted harshly against polluting our planet and making us sick and everything else. Uh, yeah, Michelle, we're all winners here. But I strongly and wholeheartedly believe in individualism, OG. Yeah. Oh, they welcomed the Knights Templar back? I never heard that, Jeff. Yeah, sometimes you have to win just to survive, Duncan. Yep. Yeah, a lot of times in my life anyway, the best, absolute best outcome I could hope for, scraping and fighting and working just insane hours a week. The best outcome I could hope for is to pay the bills one more month. You know what I mean? And there's no reason, if you look at it, there's no reason we should be living like this. Absolutely no reason. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed because I can physically do it still. I don't have to rely on the government or I don't have to rely on people's charity on the streets. I can still do it myself. So, and still, it's not right. It just isn't, and we all know it. Yeah, my pocket is foreign. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If we could get them to believe that, Christopher, we'd be in good shape, wouldn't we? Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, being on the fence, taking the best of both sides. You're a meat popsicle, Ross. Hey, good morning, Ross. Glad to see you here. Yeah, yeah, Christopher, we're all mushrooms. Yeah, Christopher hit the nail on the head, though. They keep us in the dark and feed us shit. Yeah. Yeah, only if the fence will hold. Yep. And it takes a large group of people to hold up that fence because they're trying to knock it down. They're trying to they're trying to, keep us on either side of it. They don't want to knock down the fence. They just want to knock us off of it and divide us. Yeah, Michelle. Yeah, that's a truth that people throughout history have failed to grasp. Be happy with what you have, and even the poorest among us are constantly reaching for more, all the way up to the richest of us. Constantly reaching for more. That's just human nature, and we have to overcome that part of ourselves, that intrinsic, built-in part of ourselves, and somehow find a way to be happy with what we have. What's the old saying? If you have everything you want, or you want everything you have, who's the 2 ways to happiness. The government should be afraid of the people. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. That's how it was set up in the beginning. They're supposed to be, but of course that has changed. Yeah. They set up camp here, huh, Hurst? Uh, um, the mall, right? Living and active. Where would we all hang out? We'd be at the mall. I would anyway. Be riding my bike to the mall. Yeah, the government should serve the people. They're public servants. We need to quit referring to them. And I believe it in a lot of ways. It starts with language. They're not our leaders. They're not our rulers. They're not our. They don't govern us. They serve us. They're supposed to. But through language and brainwashing and all this, we've come to believe and treat them as if they are our rulers. They govern us and decide what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. They decide, what freedoms we're allowed to keep and which ones we aren't. The exact opposite of what the Constitution says, right? So, yeah, that's got to change. Either one way or another. It will eventually, one way or another. Yeah, skills pay the bills. Yeah, yeah, working class does everything, and we got to quit supporting these useless leeches, and that's what they are. These CEOs who I mean, what does a CEO do? I mean, honestly, tell me what that woman or that man produces for their fellow man. What do they do? They get it. They go up there and they sit in a office and talk on the phone or go to a board meeting or something, and rake in 20 million a year for what? Um, and we've seen time and time again over the last couple of years where these CEOs they make decisions that completely implode the company they're working for. Cracker Barrel, Bud Light, all these. So I could have pulled the trigger on that Bud Light thing. Yeah, go ahead, put a trans dude on there on the can. Yeah, sure, sounds good to me. I could have done that and raked in 20 million salary that year. You know what I'm saying? Any idiot could have done that. So what value are they bringing to their companies, let alone to us, to to earn the most among us? And I'm not faulting someone. As I said, some of y'all weren't here yesterday. Let's say like McDonald's. The person, that Ray Kroc guy, he built McDonald's into what it is. He sacrificed a lot of his life. Now he stole the thing from the brothers, but he sacrificed a lot of his life to build McDonald's. Did Ray Kroc deserve what he had? All right. He put in the time, he put in the effort. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, depending on the moral thing with him. He stole it from those guys. Okay. Now, the CEO of McDonald's today did not do that. They just got, they didn't do anything to make McDonald's what it is. They just became CEO. So they didn't put in the effort. They didn't sacrifice their lives, nothing like that. And that's what we see a lot of times with these CEOs. They haven't earned it by any stretch of the imagination. They haven't done shit, haven't picked up a tool in their entire lives. Uh, it's a different thing now. These companies are decades old, and these people are just getting these enormous salaries for doing absolutely nothing. uh, he's an actual, well, Thomas Massey is I think he's a senator or a politician over here, Wayne, and he's supposed to be, he says now, and he's supposed to be a common sense middle ground person like we are, right? Not left or right. So the Democrats hate him and the Republicans hate him. Trump hates him. And that's why he's so much in the news, because Trump keeps talking shit about him. Him and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she's another one. She's not hardcore Republican or hardcore Democrat. She's just common sense and supposed to be, right? I don't believe anything any politician says. That whole thing, their whole persona of being in the middle could be a psyop for all I know. So I have no idea. If they're lawyers, I don't know. I don't know their history, but if they're lawyers, I would say get them the hell out of there and get a plumber in there. But yeah, but that's why Wayne, you keep hearing about him because Trump doesn't like him, and Trump keeps him in the news cycle by talking shit about him. Yeah, you don't hate the media enough. Well said, Hurst. No matter how much you hate the media, you don't hate them enough. Yeah, free rail rides for carpetbaggers. Yeah, Tiffany could sing. You're right, Christopher. Make tar and feathers great again. Yeah, we technically own the government, but they signed this thing to make us basically we're legally slaves to our lives have been signed over to the bank by the government to pay their debt. Uh, and it happened several times throughout history of the United States, but this last time they locked it in that douchebag Woodrow Wilson sold us down the river, and that's why we're here today in this predicament we're in. We're controlled by a bank, and we're not. We're basically owned by the government to pay back uh, the loans, the many loans that they've taken from the bank. Yeah, banning hemp, Wendy. Yeah, yeah, nothing. Uh, Nothing. They're not gonna pass any laws or regulations that actually help people or are good for people or anything. They're just not going to do that, Wendy. We've seen it throughout our entire lives. They ban shit that they shouldn't ban, um, unless it's a unless people come together in a major way and start threatening to kick these sons of bitches out of there. Yeah, yeah. The CEO is a valuable position. Um, can be in a lot of ways. Uh, I would say, Roz, but yeah, it's gotten stupidly out of hand um, to pay these CEOs that much money for doing so little. Uh, it's just not. It's not right. It's not right anymore. Yeah, yeah. All right, Rex. Yeah, stop drinking Bud Light just because you didn't want to make a political statement. El Cid, what's up, El Cid? Glad to see you here. Yeah, all right. Glad you could make it. What does American beer and making love in a canoe have in common? I don't know, Christopher. Yeah, yeah, and there's so many now. Dog Karma, what's up, Dog Karma? Glad to see you here. William Randolph Hearst is the reason pot was illegal. All right. Tone Tech. What's up, Tone? Glad to see you here. Yeah, a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Yeah, El Cid. Yeah. Yeah, never too old to rock and roll. If the music's too loud, you're too old. Connecting the rabbit holes. What's up? Glad to see you here. Yeah, Christopher, that's the thing nowadays. They've taken our cultural issues and these normal issues and they've made them political. They get up there and they stump at their podium or whatever and they talk about shit they shouldn't be talking about and they make everything political now, right? Even our beer, uh, our gender, our everything. Think anything. They'll talk about it and they'll get people riled up emotionally. So they'll run to the polls and vote like a whatever, like a well trained robot or well trained seal or whatever. Um, we gotta wake up and start thinking past that shit. This manipulation, manipulating us on through fear and emotion, and voting just you know because of one topic, one stupid ass topic, right? Instead of voting, casting our votes based on the history of the way they voted. Go look at the history of the way all these Republicans voted, and that'll tell you the real story, not at what they tell you at their stump during election time. Not all this shit, not all the big tough talk. When they call the CEO of Netflix up there and talk tough to him about forming a monopoly, and then let him form the monopoly. Oh yeah, go ahead, it's okay. Yeah. Oh, you want to pay $82 billion for HBO yeah, well, you can't do that. That'd make a monopoly. We can't have monopolies in the United States of America. You can't do that. Oh, you're going to make a monopoly? Oh, okay. I guess so. Go ahead. And then they'll go back to their constituents and said, "Oh, we grilled that Netflix CEO. We gave him what for?" Yeah, you grilled Mark Zuckerberg too, as he's forming his monopoly when he's scooping up all these other companies. You grilled Bill Gates. Yeah, you talked tough to him and you waggled your finger at him. Oh, you're such a good politician, you lawyer scumbag. You know what I'm saying? And and they're cut. And these CEOs, these billionaire company owners, they're cutting checks to the same people that's wagging their fingers at them. The same senators that are talking tough to them about monopolies, they're cutting checks, to them. So it's such a big scam, a big show. When you really start thinking about it, that it's really insane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the CEO does a lot depending on how you define the words "do a lot." Talk on the phone and you know stuff like that. Yeah, he probably talks on the phone a lot. He or she, and makes a lot of decisions. Probably. Uh, my my question is that worth $20 million a year? Um, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But for real, on the ground, they actually create nothing with their two hands. They do actually know physical work as the word work is defined, right? Uh, Scientifically, define it in the Webster's dictionary. Work. They do very little. The people on the ground who are actually doing the work, they get very little compensation. And okay, if you take away a CEO, just the son of a bitch dies, and the CEO is gone for a week. It takes them a week or two to get get a new CEO. I guarantee you that company will still produce their product the whole time. Now go to the bottom and get rid of all the workers. That company comes to a screeching ass halt. So that's what I'm talking about. The compensation is completely inverted. Yeah, it's all psyops now, Tone Tech. AF, what's up? AF in the house. All right. All right, AF. Glad to see you here. Never been to Epstein Island? Yeah, me neither, Hurst. Don't plan on going there. El Cid's not a psyop. Not with a name like El Cid. Yeah. Yeah, you can make a monopoly if you're a billionaire armored ghost. Yeah. And that's one of the big things wrong. You know, one of the big elements of our society that's completely busted is the mechanism to break up and prevent monopolies. Now all we have is monopolies. That's all we have. Look at the food, you know, who distributes our food. And you go through the aisles, and I use that buyer app that I've told you all about, and you pick up General Mills, you know, it's all made by the same damn company. PepsiCo, you know, there's only a few companies that produce stuff, and they've been buying up these smaller brands for decades. You think you're buying whatever Sheila's, you know, homemade bread or whatever, but you scan it with that app and you find out that, well, that's owned PepsiCo. I used to use that Tom's natural, toothpaste, deodorant, and stuff. I used to buy that stuff until they got bought out by Lysol or whoever. You know what I mean? Once they got bought out, I heard that they had been bought out. I quit buying that shit. So yeah, that's we just have a bunch of monopolies now. Oh yeah, Congress investigated itself and found no wrongdoing. Yeah, Hearst. And those companies, you know, like our food companies, they're self-regulated. They regulate themselves and they investigate themselves to make sure that they are, you know, following the rules and they're not putting stuff on our food that they're, you know, they do that themselves because they're just totally uninterested in profit or self gain. You know, they just want to make sure that we have the best, healthiest food at the best prices. They're totally uninterested in stock market valuations or, you know, or profits or anything like that. So they can be completely trusted to self-regulate and, you know, self-govern, self-police. Unlike us, you know, we can't self-police. We're not allowed to self-govern and self-regulate. You know, I can't just start writing regulations for myself and, you know, and then make sure that I follow those rules. Only billionaires get to do that. The only time I get to do that, you know, is like when I'm in a bread competition against Laura Ann. Then I get to I get to make up the rules, and I still lose. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. They'll write a sternly worded letter, Razio. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Living uh, force applied to load. They do very little of that, right? They burn very little calories throughout their day, very little work. Do a lot of talking, probably. All right. Thank you, Jeff 7. I appreciate it. 7. I. 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 Appreciate it Hurst touched the like button inappropriately. All right, El Cid. Chose U.S. Airborne, huh? The like button didn't give consent. Yeah. Yeah, the board of directors above the CEO. Yeah, just to defend me against anonymous medical board complaint. Yeah, 30 grand. Yeah, that's insane. The fees are insane. And the thing is, um, you pay the 30 grand and they don't even have to succeed. They don't even have to be successful. Your money's still gone. You don't get your money back if they fail, if they're unsuccessful in defending you. Oops, sorry. They can just be horrible at their job and still rake in the cash. They don't have to be successful at all. Now, if a construction worker builds a house and he's unsuccessful, he won't get paid. He'll get sued. But a lawyer, yeah, no, they don't. They don't even need to be successful. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way it shakes out sometimes. Sorry, no, you can't have a refund. You know, I just paid you 30 grand to do a job and you didn't do it. What? What do you want me to say? I've got to go make that boat payment. You know what I mean? No, that it's funny when you think about it. It really is. Yeah, no, I'm not, and I'm not talking about, I don't know what level you're at there, what level you're talking about. I'm not talking about the CEOs of small companies, even $1 million companies, $10 million, $30 million companies, these smaller companies. I'm not talking about those, 100 million. I'm talking about these $1 trillion companies, hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay. There's no way that the CEO of McDonald's is micromanaging thousands upon thousands of, uh, you know, uh, what are they called? Those locations throughout the world. There's no way. So the CEO of McDonald's is not making small decisions throughout. They're just not. They have an army of underlings to do all that shit for them. Once in a while, someone will bring them a major problem that they have to solve. Okay, I'll put it this way. Elon Musk said himself, he's the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company. He said throughout with all those companies, he does about 3 hours of real work a year. That's out of his own mouth. Between all of those companies. All right. So you divide that by the amount he is paid per year, and the number is just insane of his hourly rate. All right. Now the CEOs of smaller companies, and by smaller I mean less than a billion. You know what I mean? Which is small now. Now, those people probably have to actually work. I'm not talking about them, especially if they created the company from scratch and they've earned it. Even the people who created McDonald's from scratch and all that, people who actually made the company and now they're the CEO and they're reaping the benefits of all of their hard work. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody who just stepped in, and that's what Musk did with Tesla. He just stepped in. He invested in Tesla, and then he had them the actual people who created Tesla, he had them sign non-disclosure agreements so that they could never say that he wasn't the creator of Tesla. But he didn't create it. He just invested in it and kind of took it over. So that's what I'm talking about, right? The people who didn't really build the company and do very little work, maybe 3 hours of work a year, actual work. Neutralize threats immediately. Yeah. Yeah, Hurst. All right, El Cid. Yeah, but still need a lawyer, Christopher. Yep. And a judge should just see the common sense of a lot of this stuff and say, and get pissed off and start disbarring people and shit. You know what I mean? This shouldn't even be in front of me. You're wasting time. This is just obviously wrong. But they never do it. Yeah, OG Tango. Yeah, yeah. And that I definitely have that willingness. I just have to extract myself from the system. Takes a lot to make you angry anymore. Yeah, me too, Hurst. Oh, all right, El Cid. That's awesome. Yeah, and see, it's to AF, it's to the lawyer's benefit to drag it out. If they would have just got it over with quickly and efficiently, um, they would have only made 10 grand. That's not, that doesn't make any fiscal sense from the lawyer's point of view. Now, if I was your lawyer, it would make a lot of sense to me to drag the thing out. Holy shit, I might be able to drag this out for a decade. You know, that's what do you call that? Job security. Yeah, yeah. Job stability is the problem. Franchises. Oh, gee, yeah, yeah. That's the word I was thinking of. Yeah, or technical than personal. Okay. Yeah, yeah. See, with 300 employees, yeah, I just wasn't very specific enough about what I was talking about, Raziel. I got a lot of respect for smaller companies, and again, by smaller, I mean worth 100 million, 50 million, big companies to us that would have been huge, 40 years ago. They would have been huge companies 40 years ago. But homegrown companies that are doing smaller amounts of business and stuff, I'm not talking about them, the CEOs of those companies. They're a lot of them either are or were recently working class people. They built the shit with their own two hands. Yeah, that's not who I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah, OG. And in the business world like that, it's dog eat dog, it's cutthroat. So I, Bill Gates supposedly stole a lot of shit. I don't know. Um, so whether he stole it or paid good money for it, whatever, but he's not above deception, right? We saw that with the with the whole his gaming thing. He was supposed to be like in the top 10 League of Legends players or whatever, and then it turned out that he was paying people to play for him. So he's not above some deception, you know. And he said it with his own mouth that he only actually puts in about 3 hours of work a year in all of his companies put together. So that kind of shit, you know, you getting up in the ridiculous area, the ridiculous category. Yeah, fines and prison is only for the poor and non-connected. Yep. Yeah, Hurst. You know, they'll punish us. They'll throw us in a cell to rot away. They'll take our money. You know, punish us, but they're above the law. Our our uh, our representatives, you know, are those who are supposed to serve us are now think they're above us, and they're immune to our laws. They're allowed to just harvest our time of our lives in the form of currency and harvest it at will to enrich themselves. And this is actually what's going on. People use the word like vampires and all this stuff, but if you think about it along the lines of time, that's exactly what they are. They're stealing our time. They're living off of our time. Without our time, they would die. Can you imagine these old buffoons who used to be lawyers and have now been, you know, in the Senate or the House for the last 50 years? How would they make a living if they couldn't either be lawyers or politicians? They're morons. They're morons. What would they do? Maybe they could bag groceries. Maybe. Uh, but they're probably too conceited and arrogant to accept a job like that. So, you know, they would be just useless, um, you know, leeches on society. They'd be on welfare and shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Eventually, I think that's what it's going to come to. OG, we're going to have an underground barter system. Is going to be the new economy. Yeah. Yeah, I really think that that's going to happen. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but at one point it will be. Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's insane AF. That's because somebody put something on a website or something, you know, um, that it shouldn't even be a thing. But what if you haven't done anything at work to warrant, you know, outside of work, if it wasn't done between the hours of whatever and whatever, you know, your shift, then what the hell business does anybody else have putting their nose in it? Um, that's just insane. So if somebody wants to steal uh, some of my information, some images of me, and have AI, you know, out there, you know, have me out there with AI, you know, taking a dump on somebody's lawn or something, and then I'm going to get in trouble for that. uh, that's insane. And now I've got to pay a lawyer to defend me from some bullshit, some complete fabricated bullshit. The justice system, I can't even, I don't have enough time now to get into the justice system here. Yeah, but it's corrupt, it's broken. Yeah, some private and independent companies are better than the rest. Hell yeah, Duncan. Hell yeah. 9 months and then lost access. Yeah. Living. Yeah. That kind of shit's insane, dude. You work for a small company, Hearst? Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. All right, Roz. Still, the founder's son. That's once removed, but it's still, his dad worked for it. His dad built it, so you can make an argument there. Yeah, performance over person. Oh, Wayne Beatty, yeah. Gates is 1/6 slime bag, and that's probably the biggest compliment I would give him. Anything else would be 10 times worse than that, Wayne. Yeah, you're being nice there. Oh, okay, Roz. He was better as CTO. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm self employed too. Tango, OG, handyman. Why would you give the government your income? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yep, me too, Hurst. As long as her husband, and many others along with her walk free. Yeah, zero faith in the legal system. Absolutely none. It's a sham. How we would do taking the bar exam? Yeah, I don't know. They probably have it just a bunch of ridiculous bullshit to where your average, even highly intelligent person uh, wouldn't be able to pass it. But it's probably not difficult to memorize all that bullshit. There's probably a lot to memorize. Don't get me wrong, but I think uh, I don't think it would be um, really insanely difficult for even a half-ass intelligent individual. I've seen too many just stupid lawyers. I mean, dumb as stumps. So it can't be that damn hard. Yeah. Yeah. How did they ever get clearance to make money or decisions in the first place? Yeah. Speaking of making money, I read a stat the other day 8% or thereabouts of our currency is physical. Change, shit you put in your pocket, cash, change. I've always said that the vast majority of our money now is digital. We're on a digital currency anyway, for the most part. Um, and I just come across the statistic that it's 8% of our money is physical. So 92% of our currency right now is digital. They just manifest it out of the ether and hand it out. And that is inflation. That is why goods cost so much, because they devalue our dollar, and our dollar isn't worth the shit anymore. We're seeing it in action. Prices are going up almost daily. Yeah. Poetic justice is the only form that exists or matters anymore, Duncan. You're right, dude. Well said. Yeah. Just us. Yeah. Yeah, OG. Yeah, taxpayers are not allowed to win. Yeah, Christopher. Yeah, El Cid. Yeah, yeah, this is our land, and I'm talking about all of us Americans, or, wherever you are. If you're in Australia, that's your land. New Zealand, that's your land. Uh, to give it up to scumbags, politicians, scumbag politicians, or foreigners invading and leeching off of us. Yeah. Uh, no, it's time. it's time to put this shit to a screeching halt in one way or another. Ah, okay. Again, that shit coming from Iraq and becoming a doctor here. I see that all the time, AF. I don't know how your feelings are on it, but I see that shit all the time. Just going to the doctor and the dentist, and they're always foreigners. I don't give a shit what color they are. They could be white foreigners, brown foreigners. I don't care. They're not from this country. And that shit rubs me the wrong way. If I go to a doctor, I want that doctor to speak clear, coherent English. And I would just, as an American, I would rather see that go to American, that job, that high paying job, go to Americans, whether they're Black Americans, Native Americans, Hispanic Americans. I don't care as long as they're Americans. There are a lot of young people out there who would love to have those good jobs. They'll love to have the opportunity to go to those schools and become doctors and lawyers and all this other stuff, or doctors and dentists, rather. But we see more and more doctors and dentists from Afghanistan and Iraq and India and all this other shit. Why? Why are these good jobs going to these foreign people? Why is all this education and shit? We're paying for it. If you think it's not costing you any money to get these people educated and get them these jobs, we're paying for their education. If we're going to pay for it, why not pay for an American to have that education? Not me. Take some smart Black kid out of the ghetto and give him the opportunity. What the hell are we doing? They can be doctors in India. They can be doctors in Iraq. Why are they coming over here and being doctors? Honestly, somebody answer that question for me. That shit pisses me off. I'm sick of going in there and having to try to decipher what the hell these some bitches are saying. Because English isn't their native language. We're talking about my health, the health of my wife. And I gotta try to translate this, what the hell they're saying. It's wrong. And I know that I paid for it. I paid for that son of a bitch to come over here and get that good job. So yeah, that's a, as you can tell, that's a sore point with me. I don't like it. It's another thing that somehow some politician is getting, getting their wallet padded through that, I'm sure. Oh, okay. We're supposed to be under common law. That makes sense, Raziel. Yeah. Yeah. Knowledge is power. OG. Yeah. Paid them bounty. All right. Yeah. Elon Musk is an African. Yeah. I've been a couple times just over the last 20 years. I've been to the doctor once or twice. My wife will, talk me into getting a checkup and stuff or whatever. But yeah, once in a while I'll go and then I go in there and my eyes, I get my glasses and stuff, go into the optometrist and I can't even understand what the dude is saying. And he's asking me about doing handyman work on his, $2 million house. And I'm sitting here thinking the whole time, what the hell, why? Why am I not talking? I'm not jealous of the dude or anything, but why am I not talking to an American about his $2 million house or her $2 million house? You know what I mean? So it's wrong. It's just wrong. I can't go over to Iraq and have their taxpayers pay for me to become a doctor and get a $2 million house over there? I can't do that. Not that I would want to, but I'm just saying it's despicable. Erica, what's up, Erica? Glad to see you here. Yeah, yeah, we want to be around our people, and they want to be around their people. That's why they bring their people over here. That chain migration shit. When they get over here, they don't like our culture, so they want to change it. So that's why you have all these huge communities, these Somalian communities in Minnesota, because they gather and then they spread out. We're gonna see the repercussions of this kind of shit here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you come to America, come to America. I'm not saying people shouldn't be able to come to America, but they should have to start from the bottom like we did. Nobody handed me anything. Nobody handed me a free college education and allowed me to become a doctor and all this shit. Nobody handed me any of that shit. I had to start from the bottom with nothing, literally. So they should too. Which healer maybe, Michelle? Yeah, I think Shannon either is or was a nurse at some point. Yeah, they give immigrant doctors more residency spots. When American MDs graduate, some 20% of us lose out to getting a residency spot, and the insurance companies treat us like rejects. There's someone from the inside. Uh, why do these insurance companies favor immigrant doctors? Yeah, the insurance institution is just as bad or worse than any other. The justice system and the politics and all that shit. Insurance is corrupt and despicable as well. All right, Michelle, be cool. Have a great day. Oh yeah, it's time. All right. Okay. So, what have we figured out today? The government is full of scumbags. Uh, $1 trillion corporation CEOs are scumbags. The justice system is scumbags. The immigration system is full of scumbags. Bill Gates is a slime ball. Elon Musk doesn't do very much work. And what? Oh, insurance companies are scumbags, and their CEOs probably most of them. So we're surrounded and run by the worst of us, and we're importing the worst from other countries. So sometime at some point, this is going to change. This cannot continue forever. Whether it'll be 100, 150, 200, 300, maybe 1,000 years from now, it'll collapse. It'll change. But at some point, it must. And I just kind of hope that it changes during my lifetime. And maybe we can do small things together as a group to change things. Vote with our dollar. Quit voting for lawyers. Maybe if we get some actual decent people into the political arena, maybe they can stop all this corruption. Maybe they can start changing insurance policies, changing immigration policies, and doing things that actually help the people of the United States. Maybe, maybe. At this point, I'm in favor of any change, honestly. Anything. Well, I'll try anything. because what we're doing is not working. It's just not working. So, but let's just try something else. I'll say goodbye to Hurst, El Cid, hanging with Christopher, Hardwire. What's up, Hardwire? Glad to see you. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Just yep. Yeah. No help for you, Hardwire. AF, OG Tango, Mr. Hurst. Uh, who else? Oliver Rust, Michelle, Raziel, Living and Active, Jeff 7. Who else we got? Wayne Beatty. Can't forget Wayne. Dog Karma. Duncan. All right. I think I might have. Oh, hello, baby. What's up? Hello, baby. I didn't even see you there. You snuck in on me. Hi and goodbye. Hello, baby. All right. I think now that I might have gotten everyone. If I missed anyone, Tone Tech. If I missed connecting the rabbit holes. If I missed anyone, I apologize. But I try to say goodbye to everyone. Rex Chaoticus was here. Wendy. All right, at the end of my chat scroll there. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and talking about this stuff. In my humble opinion, this is the stuff that needs to be talked about. We need to discuss this stuff. Astronomer Muse Dallas. I'm going to call you Dallas. What's up, Dallas? Anarchy Television. What's up? Hi and goodbye. Wild Stallions. Yeah, Hurst, be excellent to each other. All right. So, let's see. We'll give the shout out. AF said a lot of good stuff today. So we're gonna dedicate the spiel to AF. She's been waiting patiently and contributing a lot to the comment section today. So we will dedicate this spiel to AF. Thanks, AF, and thanks to all of you. I really appreciate your time. All right. As always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, it's only $2.99 a month, and I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. But I really appreciate all the support from the members out there. This is the members banner here, and I really appreciate these people. They support the channel directly through memberships, and it helps out a lot, so thank you very much to all the members. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X things and Gen X branded stuff, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, hoodies, all kinds of stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description too for any of you who are interested. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Things, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email is genxthings@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.